welcome to another edition of Getting to Know Our Members. It's been a while since we've done one of these. With me today, I've got Zane Potter. Zane, how you doing, mate?
Not too bad, not too bad. Thanks for having me.
Oh, welcome, mate. We're up here in Brisbane just before we play the Broncos. I know this is probably going to be a while before we release it, so you guys at home already know the result, but we don't. But
Yes.
do you often travel to the games?
Well, in Sydney, this is the first time I've actually flown to a game coming up to Queensland. For the first time in Brisbane as well, but no. So not really, no. It's outside of Sydney, not really.
How was your flight up?
It was okay. It was okay. It was, very quick, Sydney to Brisbane, but a couple of delays here and there, but got here in the end. So
You're saying that your flight was cancelled.
Oh, yeah.
Your very first experience in
yesterday,
your flight was cancelled.
every time we've flown with Jetstar, something's gone wrong. But, end of the day, they gave me a free transfer to another flight. It was sorted out pretty quickly. As soon as I saw that text, I was like, oh, no. When they said, get a free transfer to another one, I was like, okay, I can do that.
So tell us, where are you from?
I'm from Wollongong, which is about an hour south of Sydney. I'm sure everyone knows has at least heard of it. So, born there, grew up there. Don't think I'll ever leave, to be completely honest. And pretty much every single week, I'm on the train heading up to a call, which about a 2-hour trip. Sometimes when they do win, it's actually worth it, but when they lose, it takes a long time to get home. But at the end of the day, I get home about 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes that's why, depending on if it's Golden Point or not, I can somehow get out of there quick instantly and get to that train station, where sometimes I'm running across while copping abuse from the team that just beat us. But when we win, it's a different story.
How does a kid from Wollongong become a South Sydney fan?
Well, it was more, my dad was always a big fan of them. Like my mum's side of the family, they were all like Steelers people growing up, so they've naturally gone to the Dragons, whereas my dad's side, they were more South fans. And my mum's not really a big footy person. My dad is a big footy guy, and he was always watching them growing up. But I didn't begin really getting into them until 2013. I still remember the first game I sat down and watched the full 80 minutes. It's when we played the Raiders at, I think it was round 15 at a call. We beat them 32-2, and that was pretty much the night when my life changed. I've been all over the Rabbitohs ever since then.
Yeah, so tell us a bit more about yourself, about your growing up and all that.
Yeah, growing up, I'd say a pretty stock-standard childhood. Like, I was always very happy. I had a fair bit of friends going throughout school, but there's always the Rabbitohs. Like, that was always my big obsession growing up. Like, I remember, I still know I've got it somewhere. I used to have this notebook from 2015, and I wrote literally paragraphs about each player in the squad and, like, date of birth, details, where they grew up. And I'm like, it's the most bizarre thing, but it's got to be somewhere in my house, but I really want to find it. But there's just always things like that. I just had this, not just the Rabbitohs, to be honest, as well, just in that general NRL. I was just all over it. I remember getting caught once late at night, like sneaking on my parents' iPad watching old game highlights, and I got in a lot of trouble for that. But it's just things like that. Like, I was just always, never played footy, but I was just always a big fan of it.
Well, you said you're very young growing up supporting South. What would be your earliest memory?
Earliest memory of the Rabbitohs? Well, pretty much that game, Raiders game. But after, I remember 2013 prelim, I was absolutely shattered up. So, like, I think it's the only game where I've actually bawled my eyes out, mainly because my dad kind of hyped him up. Like, he was very confident I would win in that game. So obviously, I was 8 years old at the time, so I kind of bought into it. But when David Williams scored that try, I bursted out into tears and went to bed, and that's try to forget that game. But
I'll tell you what, you didn't have to wait long. A lot of us, a lot of ourselves, 42 years. I was in my late 30s when I finally got to see us win a premiership. In the 80s, I got to see a few times playing in semi-finals and get close. The closest I think in my lifetime before that we got was in 1989 when we won we won a premiers. Well, quite a strong side, but unfortunately injuries at the wrong end of the year kind of hurt us. But the following year, you just had to wait 12 months to see it again. Whereas,
well, the funny thing is, my dad was born in 1972 in December. So he was born just months after they won that last premiership. So 2014 was his first time seeing them as well, just like me. But yeah, pretty much ever since then, I don't think there's been a real period where I've just lost interest in them. Even throughout all the 4 years, it's just always been a big obsession.
Well, you've recently come to the Borough the last few years. What got you into the Borough?
Well, I always wanted to sit there, but like my dad, every time we went, like we'd only ever go to like 1 or 2 games a year. It was always just general admission. But 2023, like my parents were, I was 18 by then, and they were just like, do what you want. I was like, was with a group of friends for the round 4, 2023, for the John Sattler game, and we were going up, and I was like, I may as well just get tickets to the bar. I'll do it now, and then I really enjoyed it that game. And for the rest of that year, I bought tickets there, and then 2024, I finally got a membership to sit in the bar when I pretty much decided I'd go to pretty much every game at that point.
Going to 2023, going to every game with that. What are some of your most memorable games attending?
Ending. Well, if you want to look back further than 2023, I was actually at the one when we beat the Dragons on the bell in 2019. That's my dad was getting ready to.
No, sorry, that wasn't semi-final. That was regular season.
Yeah. My dad was getting ready to walk out of the ground. I didn't have any trouble in the tunnels, and I'm like, "Well, we got the ball to kick off, and then we scored." I was like, oh, "What a way to go out!" But there's two in particular that stand out to me, which is the Panthers game in 2023 and the Broncos one earlier this year.
Okay, so Anzac Day.
Yes.
It's the 2 tries that we scored in the last few minutes there.
Yes, pretty much.
Okay.
And the Roosters one probably would have been there, but unfortunately I did not get to attend that game, which still annoys me to this day. But
was that you were overseas?
Yeah, I was on the plane.
Okay.
I just got to Vietnam, not realising Vietnam actually didn't have KO available. Okay. I couldn't actually watch the game. I just keep refreshing the scores and that set up watch NRL a bit later on. But
you do a bit of travelling, do you?
Well, not regularly, but that was just a one-off family trip that we decided to go on. I was kind of expecting, well, I knew it would be in the NRL season, but we knew usually had a Roosters round 3, so I didn't think it would be round 5, but unfortunately it was.
Did you have an opportunity there to be random South guy, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I remember just trying to get through customs and I'm like looking at my phone at the same time trying to refresh, seeing what's happening, and I'm getting text messages as well because the internet wasn't very good. So it's struggling like, oh, what a pass from Latrell that was. And I'm like, what's happening? What's happening? I want to know.
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you one of the hardest things is not being able to watch games and trying to get results. So this is why I travel to the games and that. But what's a normal game day for you? Say we're playing at April. What's the normal day?
Pretty much I would leave. Well, normal days just, well, I go to TAFE at the moment, so that's going to be added in. But I'll either work in the morning, I usually leave for the train about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, get on at Farul, then straight up to Redford, straight out to Lidcombe, change there. And that's pretty much just prepare in the afternoon, get ready to go.
You said you're going to TAFE. What are you studying?
I'm studying Cert 3 in screen media. Only just began that though, so a week into it now.
Well,
a long way to go on that.
You talk about media doing that. You've got your own TikTok channel that's got quite a few followers, and a lot of people out there recognise your face now. Tell us how you got into that.
Well, that was more. I began somewhat doing that when I was 2009. This was before TikTok really blew up into what it was then, and there was literally little to no NRL stuff. It was all about different, and I just decided I'm like, I could add an NRL twist onto this, and then from there it was sort of slow. Didn't do it too often, but it wasn't until 2022, the back end of that year, when I really started to ramp up and notice my following ramp up as well. And since then, it's just keeps on going up and up.
Well, I've seen a few of them, and you talk about a lot of different things. You're very good with your stats of the game.
Oh.
More than modern game, but you're very good with your knowledge there, and you obviously do a lot of study and things before you do that.
Yeah, I try to do a more broad NRL sort of page, but I'm trying to put more focus on the Rabbitohs as well.
How do you go about that? Like, how do you go from start to getting the followers you have today? And
I don't know. It's just over time. I think it just kept growing and growing, which is I don't really know how to explain it. I think it's more the niche twists I put on things. Like I come up with ideas that a lot of other people haven't come up with yet, and I think people must get entertainment out of that and find it very interesting. Some of the stuff I do, especially with the filters and that. Like I was one of the first people to kick off with the nose.
So you've come up here to Brisbane. This is your first proper away trip. So usually I'll ask a lot of our members what are some of the most memorable away trips and that. But you're experiencing this for the first time. It's only a big trip, but this is something that you see yourself doing.
Potentially, once I'm a bit more stable, like with a full-time job and that, making good money, I think I will definitely consider it a bit more. Like, Seagrass is a stadium. I've been there before, but I wasn't for a Rabbitohs game. I really wanted to go this year, but I'm like, I have to choose one or the other. I'll go Suncorp because I've heard a lot of good things about it. Well, not saying Seagrass says bad things, but I feel like thought it'd be a bit more of a competitive game earlier in the year, but
Yeah.
the times on would be, seeing as we always tend to be a pretty big win at the Gold Coast, but that should have been one that shows the good.
I do recommend the Gold Coast. It's a home game for us.
Yeah.
It really is the big crowd there, and just the Gold Coast itself for
I go there
professional myself. Yeah,
That's,
it is a great thing, and Michael and myself are going to be up there. I'm going to be up there with Patricia as well, but Cody, who's also up here, he's aiming to do every game this year. So
or JK's Daniel hat trick that he does up there.
oh,
Tradition at this point.
Yeah, that'll be great. But speaking of, you spoke about AJ and there. Who's your favourite all-time player?
All time. It was always Greg Inglis growing up. He was just, and there was one which is for such a crazy reason, but when I was very young, Chris McQueen, only because I was a fan of the movie Cars growing up with Lightning McQueen, and I just loved the movie's name, and it was such a bizarre reason.
Oh, look, when you're younger, you know, my favourite player, it's funny because I got to see him, I spoke to him after the game up there at Gosford, but I would have been about 5 or 6 when this guy was playing. He was my first favourite player was Ziggy Niscott, and he rang the bell last week, and where we were in the borough, he was just in the next day in the corporate box there. So at the end, he came out and said g'day. Well, love seeing those old guys that still haven't had the passion for South, but any other, what about current players?
Well, Isaac Luke was also the first player I got a photo with. 2017, I actually won, well, my dad won some raffle, and I actually got to go into the sheds and meet a bunch of players, which I'm sure will come up in Facebook memories soon, but that was a very cool moment. I remember going up to shake Sam Burgess's hand, and his hand was like the size of both my hands at the time. I just remember that so vividly, how big his hand was.
Bully is an absolute legend. He's living up here now, and I know his son's playing for the Dolphins, but his son's also a mad rabbit. I'll tell you a bit of a story. We're over in New Zealand playing the Warriors when Bully was playing for him, and he'd come over to see me after the game and got a photo with us, and his son there was the ball boy for the Warriors. Yeah, and anyway, he turned around and saying, "What happened to you? I thought you were a Rabbitoh." He goes, "I still am. It's not my fault. It's my dad's fault." He pulled up his pants and revealed his Rabbitoh socks that he was wearing underneath it. If he turns out to be a good player, we could have him playing for us. But Isaac Luke, he still loves the club, and
rang the bell on as well. I
wouldn't be surprised if he's at the game tonight. So, but current players, who would you have as a current player?
Cameron Murray, and I'm so annoyed that he hasn't been able to play a game this year because I just love watching him each and every week, and I feel like there's a lot of games this year that if he played, we probably didn't get the result in. And Latrell's the other one, I have to say. I know it sounds like the boring answer, but just what Latrell offers, and just when he's on, how entertaining some of the balls he throws and kicks are, is just...
He is a polarising character, isn't he?
Yes.
But yeah, Cameron Murray, he's possibly back in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've heard that. We're honestly knows at this point.
Oh, but we don't. I mean, a lot of us think that maybe just rest him, put him on the rest of the year
as well.
But I also think. But what about some other? What was probably your best experience at a game?
Well, I'm trying to. I mean, in terms of games I've missed, I've only missed 2 in the last. I don't know how long to tell the truth, which was. Well, the one game I couldn't attend at a call last year was the Warriors one. That's when we flooded in Wollongong, and I really couldn't. I'm kind of glad I didn't go to that one in the end. There's another one in 23 when we played the Warriors over there in the rain. I was actually at a party, so I didn't really. Yeah. Well, I was sort of trying to watch it, but in the end, I was just like,
Michael and I were at that game, and the rain of that game was horrendous.
That one off. A bit of a dip and then shot up in that game. I was like, okay, we're back, and then sort of dipped down again. But my favourite experience at a game. But it's still got to be the Panthers one. Just the way Burrow went off after that game was just so exciting. And the way we won that game in the final 5. Like, I remember Crichton scored that try. I was just like, another close game in Spanner. Maybe next time. But then we just shot home.
Yeah, it was great because Latrell scored first. And then we made the break beforehand. And it was Cody made the break and Latrell was backing up. And
then we did the same play again and got it the second time.
But yeah, this is a little bit different where Cody got the offload from AJ and made the break, and just Zayat's house the perfect position. He's had a habit of scoring last tries, game-winning tries.
Yeah, Tats. The rest of this one. There's another game.
The Dolphins this year.
Oh yes.
There was it the Broncos game as well.
This year.
Yeah, was the Broncos game this year that he scored the match winner? Well, he scored.
Munro got no. That was the Storm game where we tied it up. Actually, no,
Yeah.
I think he did. I'm trying to remember who scored that game. I think Harvey got one, but
yeah. He has had a of getting important tries. You know, right spot at the right time type thing. But in the future, and you look down the future and that, and you see the Burrow, and what would you like to see change in the Burrow?
Well, not much needs to change, but I think it'd be good to try and get it as big as what once was. Because I've been looking for old highlights of old games. There was a game from 2013. I'm like, the Burrow, like the sign, the banner was right down the front.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen it that big. I don't even remember it being that big. I was like, wow. I feel like if results come, it could grow again. Because I even go back to games a few years ago and there was still decent sized crowds there.
Well, you got to remember that's a period, and you look at the Bulldogs now, whereas you see the kennel now is absolutely because when a team goes through a long period of no success, and then you have this big push, it's going to grow, and that's what happened with the success of the Burrow. And unfortunately, as people got older and moved on, moved away or whatever, there's a lot of things. People got families, different priorities. And so having young guys like yourself, CJ, Cody, Luca, all those young guys, Ruben, they're really, really important to the growth of the Burrow. I met a few of the young guys. There was Luke. I mentioned on the podcast recently.
The Alliance advocate guy.
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was Luke. There was two of his mates. Names skip me right now. I think one of them was Jai, and these are the young guys that we need to build up. So, what kind of role do you see for yourself and the young guys?
Well, I feel for me personally, I'm one of the more quiet people at tomorrow. I feel personally, I do get into it, but in terms of I tend to stay a lot quieter than everyone else. But I feel like, I don't know, maybe trying to get the crowd more involved, more banners might work. I feel like the big one would be to move to Alliance. I feel like that would fix it. Not necessarily fix, but it would be able to convince a lot more people to show up to games compared to, and maybe just, I don't know. I'd like to see what would happen if we were to be a top 8 side again.
Yeah.
That would
definitely help. Because winning helps.
Few tough years. They'll have a good year again. I feel like a lot of people would be very excited to come back to games.
You're right. Winning will bring a lot, and I'll tell you from experience. One of the things is the pre-game, post-game sort of getting that social event. You pick up a lot of people that way. I've got loads of stories. I could do a podcast here with all the stories that I've done. I could do a 10-part series for 2 hours in front of the camera each week with the things that I've been through. But it's not about me; it's about you. And I spoke about a few of the young guys. Talk about some of the friendships that you made. Yeah,
well, I'd never met these guys until I first met them in the bar, and now I've become very close with them due to it. Like, we're in a group chat together, talk about rumours, talk about controversial decisions, and it's just picked up since then. And I feel like the more we put out there, the more it's just going to grow as time goes on. Especially like us creators, if we show off what it's like in there, a lot more younger people are going to want to come in.
Yeah, you're right, and it's something that I've highlighted when I've got you guys kind of talking to each other, doing these sort of things, and had you guys earlier on in the podcast. Unfortunately, time of the essence here is really hard. Your time's taken up with a lot of different things and getting everyone on the same page. But I've had Mark on the podcast with you later.
It's been good as well. It's been very entertaining.
He doesn't hold back, does he?
Not.
But I'm going to get him to do one of these as well. We've got a few others to do it. We've done one with Mick. We've done one with Cody, Ruben. There was Darren Finlay, he's dominant of the game. The stats and things like that is unbelievable. What he remembers, and I see you a lot like that. That as you experience,
I'm very good with remembering scorelines and stuff. Like, we'd probably throw some at me now. 2017 prior, maybe might struggle a little bit more, but from 2018 onwards, I'm pretty.
What's been your favourite season? As
I really like 2018, only because that was like a few tough years, and 2017. I had a lot of hope for him. Like, every single game, I remember I was like, I feel like we can do it, and then we just fall short. But 2018 was when started the year a bit slowly, but there was that game against the Roosters at Allianz where Cook and the Burgess brothers just killed it. And when we won that game, I knew we were going to have a good season after that Roosters win.
Yeah, well, that was Anthony Seabold. He's won another year with us. But you started following where you were attending games. You said around 2013 you started going to more games.
2013's got to be up there, though, for one.
Yeah, but we hit 2020. You get more and more into going, and then all of a sudden, COVID.
Yes.
How did the COVID years affect you?
Well, I had a lot of I just moved schools that year as well to a new high school, so I had all that on me. And then, to be honest, I wasn't not interested in our role. It wasn't like my one I still watched it and everything. It wasn't until the back end of the year I got back into it that was tough COVID. But I handled myself pretty well. I tend to like a lot of alone time as well, so it wasn't the worst thing for me, especially moving schools, which is already a struggle. But I had the NRL there to save the day in the end. About the back end of 2020 was very exciting, especially that game when we slaughtered the Seagulls. From there, it kind of took off, didn't it?
Yeah. With your TikTok channel, do you get noticed out in public at all?
Yes, I do. I do occasionally. I try not to. I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging, but yeah, I do, especially by younger kids seem to really like me. Some of them might get the occasional I'm not abused, but giving it to me, which I feel I don't really give it to other clubs or anything. I try to be as lenient as possible, but I do tend to get, especially this year, I've had a lot more people notice me.
Yeah, look, it comes with the parcel. You put yourself out there, more for.
Most of my comments are pretty positive as well, to tell the truth. I'll get the occasional moron, and there's some South fans, not all, but some who come to the comments or message me after games, blaming me as if I'm the reason they lost the game. Which I'm just you're being ridiculous. Nothing to do.
Yeah,
that's very rare, but it has happened. And I'm
turn around and just say, "Oh, sorry, I should have made that tackle." Yeah. And talking about fans making tackles, who could forget? But you wouldn't know this guy, but Skull from the Dragons, where he'd run on the jump the fence, run on the field. Yes. And the players making a break, and he'd run on the field and tackle him to save a try. Maybe that's.
Can't imagine how that would go back.
Well, maybe that's what they're expecting you to do. But have you signed any autographs or anything?
But I've taken selfies with kids, which is an awkward thing to do, especially after a loss, and I'm just quickly.
Yeah,
that would be quite.
At the same time, it helps with your channel, and I see where these kids are excited to see you and things like that, and because I've noticed now that social media is a huge thing now.
Yeah, and it might get a big impact at the end of the year when it's supposed to be limited for people under 16. So that might take a big toll on a lot of things, but it's a different story.
I don't think you'll see too much.
Yeah, exactly. I agree. I don't think it's going to be as severe as well.
Kids are going to find ways. There's kids under the age of 16 who will show me how to do things. And I don't know how. And they'll show me ways around things, and it's
But my focus is I don't try to just appeal to young kids. I appeal to a broad audience, but it seems like the kids, younger ones, really seem to love what I do.
Well, they love looking things on TikTok. I know my partner's.
She sat one the other week with the new game coming out, and I kind of questioned the way Cody Walker looked in that game. I was like, I don't know what happened there, and people were oh, he was away for scanning. I'm like, yeah, he must have been.
Oh, sure. There's nothing wrong with a bit of humour or whatever. And
there was something about when Jacob Post was rated 85, the fifth highest rated player in the game. I was like, no disrespect, but he's played one game in first grade. You cannot tell me he's a better rated than someone like Tallis Duncan.
True.
It's surprising to me, but
yeah, these games are what they are. I haven't seen the game, but I've seen it.
It's okay, but it's just.
So you obviously look for content that's kind of people are talking about out there and use that, which is good because that's something in the podcast that with South fans we're looking at. You would have heard us talking about the problems with not getting the injury reports, and it's
a little bit lately. I've seen a lot.
It's been great, and I always say if you're going to bag someone, praise them as well.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I always feel like, and Mark and myself pride ourselves on that. But with the pressures of putting content out and being recognised out in public, it's quite funny because you go from just living your life to all of a sudden.
At home, it's pretty good. It's mainly at games where I get those. So occasionally, the kid will come up to me, at work, That my shop that I work at, and know who I am, and it's very awkward in those situations. But no, it's mostly at games.
But that's all right. It's funny because my partner Patricia, two young girls, Xanthi and Aria. Xanthi's 10, Aria's 5. They see that I'm on YouTube and that, and they look and they get excited. But it's funny because Aria's swiping through her she's only 5, but she's swiping through her YouTube things, and she'll see a video of me coming up, and she's telling me, "Mummy, it's Joshy."
Yeah, that's what my younger brothers used to be like.
Yeah,
on TikTok when I'd pop up.
But that's good. I love when, I love when I've had a few people recently come and approach me. As I said, I met Luke the other week, and he goes, "Oh, you do the podcast," and I always love meeting people that are watching it and get enjoyment from it, because it makes you feel good that you're putting something up there that people enjoy.
Yeah, that's what I like as well. Just seeing how excited kids get to see me. I'm like, oh, I'm not that.
Yeah,
not that big. That's what you might think I am,
but
I'm gonna meet you.
You said your dad, he supported South for a long time.
Pretty much, yes. I think they might have jumped to the Steelers when they were in the team, just because they were the local side. But when they were moved on, they went back to South. But I remember being very young, like being up in bed, and I'd always hear him blowing up at the TV. And then that's when, eventually I started watching as well. I remember there was the semi-final in 2013 when forgot his name, the Melbourne guy landed on his head, and my mum was so appalled by what happened. Like she went up to bed that game, but I forgot who it was. It was the Melbourne winger, and it was an accident, but he fell over and landed on his neck pretty badly. But I just remember that moment as well. There's a lot of random little things I remember just from games, just the way my dad reacted, or just the way I reacted.
Going back to the Burrow, and you come in and you found your spot now and there. What kind of advice would you give to more young people, or anyone that's thinking about coming up, not just sitting in the Burrow, but want to come up and join us in the call group? What kind of advice would you give to them?
Just do it. Don't be worried. I know sometimes people can get a bit aggressive, but that's just part of it. If we win, it's the best night ever in that Burrow. Like you might see everyone just, their whole tone's just changed despite what the refereeing decisions. Like if we win a game, it's the best feeling ever. And when we lose, unfortunately, we're all in together.
It's a shame
that the best thing is it's just it's a very fun place to be.
It's a shame you weren't there for the Roosters game,
because I've seen the reactions.
That game was
at the end.
Well, that whole game was the Burrow of old.
Oh, I saw that. It's huge crowd.
The crowd was huge, but the noise, everything. Yeah. It was just such a feel of, reminded me, and I thought, well, this is something we could build on. Unfortunately, injuries happened, but
people are always bagging out the Burrow size line, and I'm always like, I try to defend it, but there's some occasions where I really can't, and I'm like, oh, it is what it is. But
I tell you,
I remember seeing that Roosters game. I'm like, I've never seen Burrow that's maybe since probably John Sattler game. Yeah, it was a pretty good crowd.
Yeah, and it doesn't help that long periods we're spending away from Accor, and you're right. I really think the move to Allianz, we had it. We had the talk with, I had a chat from Rabbitohs Radio and Mark Rayner. We spoke about Allianz versus Accor, and honestly, for the growth of the Burrow, I love the idea of getting to the juniors before the game, heading in the light rail, maybe going to a pub beforehand, getting everyone at the pub. You've got plenty of pubs around there. You go into the game, all go into the game together, get into our bay. It used to be Bay 38.
So much more simple to get there, especially for me as well. Coming up from Wollongong, it's just one straight trip, light rail. Yeah. I understand why some people like Accor. I've seen the argument, like, people like Accor because of how smaller the crowds are, which I'm like, I understand why they feel that way, but I'm just like, is that really?
Well, look, everyone's got their preference, and people will choose things. And look, if it was location, for me, I'm not even 15 minutes from Accor, but I prefer Allianz.
Yeah, just the atmosphere as well.
I feel that's where the Burrow can really grow. We can have a ground where the atmosphere that we create is a lot better. You put 15,000 to both stadiums and you listen to the atmosphere, you'll see the difference.
It's going to be a bit of a mission to get there. Got rejected this time, but like I said, I'm like, how many times were we rejected and rejoined the competition? 2002. We eventually got there.
Yeah.
There's a few rivals standing in our way. We're like a brick wall, not letting us pass, but I'm sure we keep fighting, we'll eventually get through.
You've seen us win the grand final in 2014. Were you at home watching
I was
that?
at home,
Okay.
yes.
And obviously, you were home in 2021.
Yes.
Next time we made the
21, that was I've still got clips from, still got one clip actually of when Matt Reynolds missed the goal. I was filming my reaction and he missed it. I wasn't very happy after that. I was pretty devastated.
Well, hopefully we don't see him tonight from the same spot.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Because it's
That-
love salt to the moon. Every time I've seen him playing at Suncorp, kicking a goal from the same spot,
yeah,
exact same spot,
it.
nails it. I'm
Yeah.
just like, why couldn't he get
What
that
would
one?
have changed in that game if he kicked that goal?
That's true.
And also the Murray run, which is a thing a lot of people forget about. That Murray down the middle run.
Yeah. Had we gone right rather than left,
Yeah.
we'd win that game.
And well, there's also you throw the intercept as well, but that's I've seen Cody Walker talk about that since then. He's like, we still do that today.
I love that
No.
podcast with it was Josh Mansour, and he spoke about that, and he said that's what makes me me. And he goes, obviously with the hindsight of throw, but just knowing what you knew back then.
If he hit that pass, it probably would like to have seen out went as well. Like Crud jammed in, that didn't catch that ball, went out to I think it was Gagai he was going for.
No, AJ.
It was AJ. Yeah. Gagai was in the middle. Yeah.
He should have done. He said he should have double pumped it. Yeah, those sort of things. But since you haven't been, we fast forward to the next time we make the grand final.
Oh,
how will that be for you?
Yeah, I'll definitely be a lot more nervous about it than what I was in the past, especially for the fact that I know I'll be there on the day. And it's like a team that I really want to be. Like we played a Roosters, that's like, I'm like we have to win. Like there's no option because we never hit the end of it if we lose. Same with the Bulldogs. Yeah, like a team like that, especially.
Well, we have beaten the Bulldogs,
yeah.
So it's kind of that. But the Roosters, I take that point. But
I'd be on the edge of my seat about that the entire week if we're playing the Roosters. I'm like, better win this.
Yeah, well, any last thoughts before we go?
Last thoughts on the season or just?
Just as a whole, as a South fan.
I'm glad I picked South, especially over the Dragons, who my side of my family go for. I'm like, lucky I think I picked the right team in this scenario, but obviously it's been a lot more good years than Dragons have recently. So, these past few seasons have really made me appreciate like the good seasons even. Because I remember going back to 2021 and it was just like we're winning these games by like 40 points like all the time. And I never like took it for granted really. I remember there was one game, I think it was the Tigers one at Leichhardt and we won 30 out of 20. I remember I was guilty about that because of like how much points we can set in the end. But like we won a game by that much and now I'd be over the moon. Like 16 points. I think our biggest win of the season is 10 points.
Yeah, well.
Penrith and the Tigers.
Yeah.
So we haven't really had a big win this year.
Well, we're up 28-0 against the Panthers.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say nothing.
That's
well, it's been great having you on. Make sure you give Zane a follow on his TikTok channel there, and got a lot of great content on there. We'll put a link up on for you guys. We really do enjoy having these, get to know our members, and for you guys at home to know them a bit better. Hopefully, we'll be getting more of them out, especially in the off season. We'll put more of these out. We'd love put this content out. We love hearing from you guys at home. Make sure you like and subscribe. Anyway, I've got Zane with me. Been a pleasure having you on, Zane.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Now for the game tonight.
Hopefully we do. Yeah. Hopefully you guys will know the result at home, but we don't right now, so don't spoil it for us. But anyway, I'm your host, Josh, joined by Zane. Go the Rabbitohs.